All right, what's up, everybody? It is the first time you get to see me and Chris together on the channel. This is awesome. Hey, if you're new to this channel, we're Lions fans. We're not hiding it. We're not ashamed of it. But Chris, who else do we love?
Oh, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, Jim Harbaugh. Glad you were ready for that question. Tough first question. We love Harbaugh. We followed him out to the West Coast for the beautiful Powder Blues. I always say it. Powder Blues and Honolulu Blues. Chargers, Lions, best uniforms in the game. But we're so excited to be able to bring content to you guys. So feel free to subscribe. If you're new to the channel, don't subscribe just yet. Wait till you watch us. See if you like us, right, Chris? Like, I mean, if they don't like us, we don't want to make them subscribe first.
No,
Exactly.
And if you've been watching us for any length of time and you're like, you know what, these guys are pretty, I like it. They're giving us an unbiased look into our team.
Yep.
Plus, they know a little bit about Jim Harbaugh. It's a good fit. So yeah, Craig, I'm excited to be on here with you because we've really enjoyed looking at really a couple things with the Chargers, but especially that fifth pick where it's just like it feels like they can't go wrong, and it's just fun to talk about all the different things, and it feels like they've got nothing but good news about the fifth pick lately. So I'll let you kick it off, but I think I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, there's nothing but good news. And in this video, we'll talk about 2 or 3 of those things. But you did a video yesterday about how they have a shot at Marvin Harrison Jr. You want to give me like the 30-second version before we get into the next thing? Because we have like 3 or 4 fifth pick scenarios. All are good. But Marvin Harrison Jr., how would that happen?
Yeah, we looked at it. And it really, teams need quarterbacks, right? And I think the more that we watch football, more and more, you have to have a quarterback. So while Marvin Harrison would be great for the Cardinals, there's teams that need quarterbacks. There's another team now, the Broncos, that need a quarterback. So somebody might come up into that fourth slot, take a quarterback, and there's Marvin Harrison, right? And so it's not like a great shot, but it's also not impossible. And I think originally you just not even gave any thought to Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Now you can just don't get too excited, but also, man, there's a real possibility. And we'll go into that a little bit deeper, but that's what we're looking at. Quarterbacks could go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
And really you just need one quarterback because the top 3 are set.
Yep.
So if you can just get one more, then Marvin Harrison's yours.
And that changes things in so many ways. And by the way, there was just this mock too, where they had the Arizona Cardinals taking Malik Neighbors. Like It could be something that simple too, where because for every 5 people who think Marvin Harrison's the best quarterback wide receiver in this draft, there's one person who thinks Malik Neighbors is the best. And if the Cardinals think that Malik Neighbors is the best, you just got Marvin Harrison.
Absolutely.
That's a thing. But there's a rise of a player right now. There's almost, I don't want to call it a meteoric rise, and we're not surprised by it. It's one of Jim Harbaugh's old players, and he is rising, especially after the combine. I think people were surprised with how good his arm talent was, and that player is none other than J.J. McCarthy. And J.J. McCarthy, that isn't updated yet. Now you will be hearing that about half the teams have McCarthy either above Daniels or above Drake May, believe it or not. So now, and that's because McCarthy's out here at the combine throwing, and they get to see him next to Joe Milton, who has the greatest cannon on earth, and he is kind of going toe to toe with him,
dude,
as far as arm strength goes. And so if he moves up, what does his rise do for the Chargers and their trade back possibilities, Chris? What does that look like?
And that's what you nailed J.J. McCarthy, because he is such a wild card. You and I, if you want to talk about how he shouldn't be drafted in the first round, you and I could make that argument all day long.
Sure.
Easily. If you want to talk about how he's like the 1, 2, or 3 quarterback taken, I could make that argument very easily because he is so athletic. He's got a weirdly rocket arm that it's actually, that was one thing that kind of held him back. If anything, was he would want to just rifle it half the time. And you're just like, it's 2nd and 2. Like, we're going to get the first down next play anyway. Stop with everything you're doing. So
relax.
So this is great news for the Chargers that J.J. McCarthy continues to rise up. Bo Nix, Penix Jr. I made this argument a couple videos ago, Craig. That one doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't why he's not way higher than this, like why he wouldn't go at number 4,
Mm,
or be a guy that's traded up for, because Penix, I thought, just fit the bill in a lot of different ways. So I'll stop rambling and say that JJ McCarthy's rise is such good news for the Chargers, and there's only a couple quarterbacks there. Excuse me. Yeah, there's 2 or 3 quarterbacks that could really go into that 4th spot. That's just perfect. If you're a Chargers fan, you want all this momentum for quarterbacks, and teams know it's so important. And someone made a great point out, and I'll throw it back to you, Craig, is that next year the quarterback class is not anything like this. So it's like, man, if
right.
you have any remote chance, you
It's
should
kind of
probably
like 2
go
years
now.
ago, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like 2 years ago. And here's the thing, if you, like you said it, you nailed it. If you have a remote chance to get the quarterback of the future, and then it's about understanding the teams that are around you. Now, normally having the 5th pick is the 5th pick.
Mm-hmm.
But when you know the first 3 teams need a quarterback, when you know the Bears, well, everybody can make the argument, will either trade or draft a quarterback. You know the Commanders need a quarterback. You know the Patriots need a quarterback. You know that the Cardinals, right? Thanks for showing me that. You know that the Cardinals they've committed to Kyler Murray, Mighty Mouse. Like they have committed to him. But then after the Chargers, the Giants, the Falcons, right? The Vikings, keep it going down, right? Keep it going down. All right. The Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders, they all need a quarterback. The Seahawks, even like every single one of those teams is like, all right, we need a quarterback. That could be the difference for us. The Steelers at 20. So you have a large number of teams that need a quarterback, and you are the team that they can trade with that is the cheapest that could finish and fill their team well. You're telling me the Steelers aren't a better team with JJ McCarthy?
Dude, seriously. You haven't thought of the Steelers being a Super Bowl contender in years. I mean,
Yeah,
that used to
since
be
Ben
like,
got old.
yeah, since he was his last 5 years.
Yeah.
And but to your point, we keep talking about teams trading that 4th pick, and then you get Marvin Harrison, but I think you did a great job of transitioning to, what if people trade with you?
Yes.
And that's the bigger picture in this whole video that we've took us 7 minutes to get to. That is, I think, the big news, and the great update here is you can move back deep into this draft. We keep making the argument that you've got a general manager from the Ravens who's just used to picking in the late 20s every
Yep.
year. You've got
So
Jim
he's
Harbaugh,
comfortable.
who, yeah, who's been in college.
Mm-hmm.
So he's seen his team. He's seen guys he's played against. He recruited. He was just in college. You have Mike McDaniel, or not Mike McDaniel, Jesse Minter,
Yes.
college guy. So they can evaluate talent. So I would not be worried to move back, and actually
Mm-mm.
would want that if I'm a Chargers fan.
And remember, too, if you're going to trade back, so let's say you trade back to 12, right? Let's say you trade back to 12 with the Vikings or 8 with the Falcons. Yes, your pick's not as far back in the first round, so there's still absolutely elite talent there. But at the same time, you're not going to get as much as in return as if you trade all the way back to 20 with the Steelers. If you trade all the way back to 20 with the Steelers, I'm telling you, it's a first round pick next year and it's a second round pick this year. Like that's a big jump. And so you're going to get a lot of capital that you might not get if you make a little jump either. There's a lot of possibilities here. Teams that want a quarterback get desperate. So you either take the best available or you add a few more picks, add a few more bullets to your gun, if you will, and you have the opportunity to get even more good players. And by the way, if wide receivers a need, there's this draft class is loaded in 2 areas. And one is very unique: offensive line depth and wide receiver depth. Absolutely loaded.
And we're being Lions fans, we've seen, and you can look at Brock Bowers. Let's say you stay there, take Brock Bowers. We've seen, I love to know your opinion, Craig, of what an elite tight end does. And
Yep.
for us to get Sam Laporta, he completely changed our offense. Not
Yeah.
changed it, just made it better, like way better. And
Chain
he
mover.
caught so many tough catches, so many 3rd and 8s. It was incredible how
Yeah.
valuable a good tight end is. However, I still don't like it. I just don't like it at 5
By
overall.
5.
But if there was a 5 overall pick, it would be this tight end. He is that good, but I still don't like it. Where are you at with taking a tight end at 5?
All right, let me ask you this question. You're a Lions fan. You saw the year Laporta had, which, by the way, best rookie season by a tight end ever, right? Ever. Um, do you think he would have been worth the 5th pick?
Yes.
Right. So if Brock Bowers can be that, like, go for it. And Brock Bowers too is he's a wide receiver. Don't mess around with that. Right? Like, he is a tight end, but he is also a wide receiver. He's the guy who can line up on the line. He can line up in the slot. You know how they're doing a lot of that with tight ends now, putting them on the slot. He can go wide if you need him to. But when you have a threat that can stretch the field vertically down the middle, it changes everything for what you can do. It just
Yeah.
does. It
Mhm.
really does. So I do understand it. Like, if they went and they got Bowers at 5, I wouldn't be angry about it. But man, oh man, would I rather them trade back to 8 or 12 and get him there?
Oh, exactly, exactly, and that's what's interesting is he could be there. Now, before we go any further, I wanna know in the comments, I just
Mm,
thought of this. How did you
okay.
become an LA Chargers or an LA Chargers fan? How did that happen? Was it just like right from birth, dad's watching on the
Mm,
couch and you just don't even remember? Or did you like, oh, it was it a certain player that took you over there, Junior Seau, that
mhm.
you were like, I love him? Or is it
LT.
just recently? Like, yeah, I'm always fascinated by that, how you become a fan, because it's just you're not just like, yeah, I'm kind of a fan. Like you're a fan once you're in.
Once you're in. And this is, you ready for my fan story, by the way? And it's the weirdest time that I became a fan. So I wasn't that old at the time. I think I was like 8 or 9. But when they went to the Super Bowl against the 49ers, and I know that's not fondly remembered for Chargers fans. I totally get it. But I was just like, I really like this team. Watching them in that playoff run, they eventually lost to the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Great season, maybe even overachieved. And I love that about them. And then you see Seau, everything's good. LaDainian Tomlinson. If you haven't looked up the video of the LT slide, like where he's like, I don't like that call. It's
Who is their
hilarious. You have to watch that. If you are
Who's
a
their
Chargers fan and
nasty
you haven't seen that video yet, you are not real.
the nasty linebacker like Sean Merriman or Merriweather? Merriman.
Ooh,
Sean
Merriman.
Merriman, I
Sean
think is
Merriman.
oh, love that guy. Okay, sorry. Derailed us. You're right. You could get Brock Bowers because look at this. Neighbors, Alt. There's an edge, another wide receiver. I mean, Bowers could be right here at 7, 8, 9 again. So
That's the
because
beauty of trading back, man.
oh, 6. Yeah, yeah.
They're all there. Like, one
All
of them's
these
gonna
teams
be
need a
there.
quarterback.
Odunze is going to be there. Or, oh, maybe Xavier Worthy. You trade back even more, and all of a sudden you have the fastest guy in the NFL. Or I mean, he's okay.
Unbelievable.
I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, like, that is just loaded. And that doesn't take anything away with how good Marvin Harrison is. That doesn't take anything away from how good Malik Neighbors is. It's just there's going to be wide receivers all up and down this draft.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
it's unbelievably talented, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they get really boring and they just take a tackle, and then I really would, but I still don't think that's what they should do. I think if they keep the picks the way they are, I think it should be skill position with the 5th. Then when you go early in the 2nd, you get your big D tackle,
Yep.
right? And then in the 3rd, you do what you got to do.
Well, you've got a
Interior
quarterback.
offensive
Like
lineman.
that's what's so exciting is you have the quarterback. So that's half the battle. We just looked at the teams. I mean, half the teams truly kind of need a quarterback,
Right.
and if they're being honest, would upgrade. So you've got an elite quarterback, and then you're adding Jim Harbaugh. And one thing I said, Craig, about Jim Harbaugh, and tell me your thoughts on this, is everyone talks about how physical his teams are. That is true, but I think
It's
it's
true.
magnified their physicality because they're so disciplined. The discipline side
Mhm.
is what kind of people don't talk about enough with Jim Harbaugh. They don't make mistakes. They don't beat
Right.
themselves. Defensively, there's nobody running free on
Yep.
you. They it's just this like methodical thing that and you combine that with and it makes, it's like chicken and the egg. Well, it's like, well, they're really disciplined, so they kind of look physical because they're always moving forward. It's like, no, they're physical and then they don't make mistakes, right? So it's a
Yep.
two-pronged thing. So the physicality is real, but it's the discipline of Jim Harbaugh's teams and the way they just play football well that
Yeah.
makes him so good. I don't know how he does it, man, because that's what every team is trying to do, but he
Mhm.
does it so well.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is because he's counterintuitive to what the NFL is now.
Yes.
He's counterintuitive to what college football was for sure, which is we're going to beat you on the ground. We're going to be more physical in the trenches. And because we do those things, we're going to be good. Now, the NFL is starting to get onto that, the play action, things that Harbaugh teams do so well. But here's the weird thing about Harbaugh, right? It was same thing when he was with the 49ers, same thing now with Michigan, and it will be with the Chargers. Is he is an offensive minded coach who always has a better defense. And it's because he has an offense that's designed in a way to eat up clock and put the defense in good positions. His offense puts his defense in place to succeed, and then his defense does the favor in return for the offense. It's extremely good complementary football that most teams are simply lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's such an efficient way to play the games. I think
Yeah.
Michigan football
Sometimes
has
boring.
yeah. Oh, the shortest games of anybody, because they run the ball, they eat clock,
Yep.
the defense gets off the field, they're never in compromising positions. That's a great point. It's just everyone's trying to do this, but Jim Harbaugh achieves it by playing football how it's supposed to be played. Absolutely boring. There's the last couple of years against Michigan State, right? The big rivalry, like kill them, let's kill them. What do we do? Just grind them into the ground, 30-0. And it's just like, well, that was awesome, but boring all.
Yeah, it
all
was
at
a
the same
really
time.
boring 34-0 win that we consistently did.
Yeah.
And I bet you'd take that, wouldn't you, Chargers fans? You would love that. I really do hope they're able to get a game breaker, because I would love to see that. That's one thing. If you look at all of Harbaugh's teams, Stanford, San Francisco, Michigan, he's never had that wide receiver that's just ridiculous.
No, hasn't.
Nope. And I would love to see what that would look like with here in LA. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
That'd be good.
And really they need a running back too, but I believe firmly that Harbaugh can take anybody and make them a good running back. Like that doesn't matter as much as okay, you need that elite wide receiver. That's something you can't just manufacture, where the running back, you can, you just give me somebody back there. We'll figure that out. But yeah, combine Jim Harbaugh's running with an elite wide receiver. Oh, dude, I would love to see that.
A lot easier to find an elite running back, or at least elite looking running back, than an elite wide receiver. Just is. A lot of good running backs. So hey man, thanks for joining. This is great. It was good doing this together. And hopefully everybody out there is enjoying the channel. We're almost 18 minutes in. So if you're still watching, that's got to be a subscribe, right? Don't you think, Chris? I mean, that's got to be a subscribe. Hopefully you like what we're doing. We want to be your go-to spot for Chargers football. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
See you.